Hi there, welcome to Buff Chef. This is actually a Buff Chef quick tips video. Okay, what I'm going to show you today is a really good way to buy meat. This is actually pork, and you can buy it in a very inexpensive way, and you can also cut your own meat. That way you can decide your own thicknesses and that type of thing. So basically what I have here is an actual pork loin, okay? And there's several different cuts of meat on a pork loin. Specifically, about the last 4 inches or 5 inches of the lower end of this is actually going to be rib roast, okay? Very, very tender meat. There's a ton of things you can do with that. But on the upper end, and this is the larger end, what we have is about 5 inches of, this is actually loin roast. And it's a little bit denser material. It's a little bit harder to work with. Crock pot would be awesome for that, okay? And everything in between we're just going to make chops out of, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to cut all this stuff up, prepare it, and here we go. Okay, first things first, we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove about 5 inches of the upper end of this. And again, this is the loin roast. So I'm going to go to about right, I'm saying about right here, and I'm just going to go right on ahead and remove that. Okay. Now on the other end of this, again, we have about 4 or 5 inches of the rib roast. So I'm going to go to about right, I'd say here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove that portion. Very good. We're going to set that right there. Okay, now what we have here is chopped material. Okay, it's boneless, it's very tender, it's very good stuff. All right. Now I'm going to do a couple of different things with this. The first thing is I'm going to make some, I think about 3/4 to 1 inch thickness chops, and these we're going to actually use at some point to do some stuffing. We're going to throw things like mushrooms and cheese and spinach, things of that nature in there. So let's go ahead and cut some chops. I'm going to go about right there. And again, sharp knife, very important. You guys know how I feel about sharp knives. Just like that. This is actually an excellent specimen. It's not seeing a whole lot of fat here. I really did well. And this is $15. You know, this is a lot of food for $15. It really is. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and make 6 of these big chops. These are awesome on the grill. You know, you can bake these. Just really the possibilities are kind of endless. Just like so. Okay. Now that I have 6 thick chops, I'm going to go ahead and make several smaller chops. And the reason I'm going to make these actually thinner, these are going to be about 1/2 inches or something like that, is that they cook better. They actually, it's not that they cook better, they cook faster. These are good for like your breakfast and things like that. So here we go. These are 1/2 inches. Now pork is actually a very healthy meat. It's if you do it right, you can really get pork that's very low in fat, cooks up great. Just so many different things that you can do with this. Okay, that's 4. Oh, what the heck? Let's keep going. That's 5. You know what? I'm going to leave that one alone. So we're going to have 7 thick chops. We're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the thinner chops. We've got our roast or our rib roast, okay? We've got our loin roast, and of course that's crock pot material. Now that's a great way to buy some bulk meat, some stuff that bulk meat that you really want to buy, things that would cost you a great deal of money if you were to buy individual pieces of, are not really a factor here because you're actually buying bulk, you're making your own cuts, and sure, it may take you a few minutes to do that, but you have the time, and trust me, it's going to save you some money. Let me give you an example. Like, let's look at the meals that we have here, okay? We've got, this is a rib roast, okay? You can do a lot of things with that. You can bake it, you can stuff it, there's so many things you can do with that, okay? That's going to feed probably 3 or 4 people right there. Now we've got, this is our loin roast, and this is crock pot material, but that's okay because there's a lot of things you can do in the crock pot, of course. Now let's talk about the chops. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got about 6 chops. These are about a ½ inch thick. These are going to cook really well. You could do something like for breakfast with those, you know, a couple of eggs, some chops. They cook about the same time, right? Now, over here, of course, we've got the big boys, and 2 of these are about $1.60. That's it. That's all this costs. And look at that. You can stuff these. I mean, they're huge pieces of meat. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 5 of these guys on here. Okay, so all this meat really only set me back about $15 and change. Let's call it $16. Okay, but there's so much you can do with this. I've got 10 meals here, right? 10 meals, and they're going to cost me about $1.50 each when you break it all down. It's really, really hard to argue with economics like that, and especially again because you're cutting your own meat, you know what you're getting. Thanks for stopping by.